Hi, I'm Marissa Kozlov. Welcome back for another eMarketer Industry Voices, where we bring you perspectives on how marketers are working through challenges, what they envision for the future. Joining me today is Carolyn Rosebrough, Global Head of Communications and Brand at smart mobility company Lime. Carolyn, great to see you.
Marissa, so nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
I'm thrilled to have you here today. Carolyn, anyone who knows you knows how passionate you are about brand marketing. And throughout your career, you have guided a number of purpose driven brands through pivotal moments. What excited you the most about joining Lime?
For those that don't know, we're the world's largest shared electric vehicle company. For me, as I was talking to Lime, I really joined because of our mission to build a future where transportation is shared, affordable, and carbon free. I believe we can truly shift behavior around the world to better tackle climate change. And I think just one thing I would note is, we're all hit with dire reports all the time about the environment. And one that really spoke to me recently is that in cities like New York and London, we need to shift 80% of our daily miles traveled to car free options. That means we need to be biking, scooting, walking, taking public transportation. And in the US today, we're only at 13% of those miles. So for me, when I hear that kind of gap, it motivates me tremendously to think about how Lime as a brand can and should show up in the world.
So, what we do know that over the past few years, ride sharing had declined, but it has really picked up. And you hit a big milestone last summer 250 million rides. Congratulations. How has your
Thank
rider
you.
profile changed?
Yeah, so actually, I'm proud to say we're now at 300 million rides. The pandemic actually saw our business grow. And I think there's a couple reasons for that. I think there's the sort of practical reasons, right? We are an open air, single passenger transportation option. So during the pandemic, that is something people were actively seeking out. I also think people want a greener way to get around. I think we are starting to hear so much more about climate change. So I think people really are starting to think about ways that they can actually shift their own behavior to be more green. We're in more than 200 cities around the world. And so our city partners are increasingly recognizing that our current car culture is just not sustainable. The traffic, the gas prices, emissions. And so they want these lighter shared electric vehicles to solve some of the issues that are caused by our over reliance as a society on cars. And we saw last year that cities that built more protected bike lanes, we actually saw double, in some cases, triple the number of e-bike and e-scooter rides.
That's great to hear. And some of the factors that you mentioned, the rising gas prices now that we're seeing on the news consistently, are leading more people to look for alternate ways to get around. But also the fact that people are going back to the office is another interesting thing to consider. Both of those seem like a pretty great opportunity for you to get in front of some new customers. What strategies have worked best for customer acquisition?
When we think about new writers and new cities, I think there's a couple things that we find work really well. So, of course, it's talking about our mission, using social channels, engaging with our audiences more directly. I think the other thing that's really interesting to note is that, because we have emerged over the last 5 years as the leader in our industry, we take those strengths and those learnings, but we really customize our approach to the different cultures and unique needs of each city around the world. We like to say we try to think like a local. And so that means there are cities where people embrace us and love us. There's also cities where we need to improve our perception and reputation, where people might be skeptical about e-bikes or e-scooters, or in regions where people think about e-bikes and e-scooters as purely functional, getting from point A to point B. We really want our marketing to evoke this sense of this is more integral to our lives and the way that we move around cities.
That's fantastic. Lime is also integrated into Google Maps and also Uber's app in select cities. How have these mapping apps created greater visibility for the brand?
It's really important to us that we make micromobility accessible to everyone. And so we're really proud of our partnerships that allow our riders to seamlessly navigate their city's transportation networks. So this includes integrations, like you mentioned, with Uber, Google Maps, Move It, City Mapper, and many more. In some cities, what's interesting is we're integrated into their public transit apps so that it's easier for people to switch between our vehicles and public subways, trains, and buses. The goal for us is to encourage what we call multimodal journeys. These are trips where you can easily take different types of vehicles. For example, if you live in the Bay Area, you can take a Lime e scooter from your house to the BART station, take the BART close to where you're going, and then complete your trip with another e scooter. So instead of taking a car, you're saving time, you're saving money, and carbon emissions as well.
And it seems like it really breaks up the commute and even makes it a lot more fun.
That's right. Absolutely. I think in addition to the fact that it's greener and it's more convenient, there's just something about being on an open air, single passenger e bike or e scooter that just makes the day better.
So this year, Lime is celebrating another milestone. It's your fifth anniversary. Congratulations. What can we expect to see next for Lime?
We're just really optimistic, I think, looking at the growth of the past few years. It's been, hard for the world, but because our business, I think, has actually benefited from more people choosing e-bikes and e-scooters and shared electric vehicles, we really are starting to see this behavior shift. In most developed countries today, 60% of trips are under 6 miles. So for us, that's a huge thing to think about. Our goal is to replace those trips under 6 miles with these lighter vehicles, e bikes, e scooters, new innovations that we're thinking about, and more walking and public transportation. And for us, at the end of the day, fewer cars in cities, streets return to people, transportation system that's decarbonized. That's the brighter, greener future. And our team's up for the challenge.
Carolyn, thank you so much for being with us today. It was such a pleasure to speak with you and also a lot of fun. And congratulations to all of your success that you've been having at Lime.
Thank you, Marissa. It's great to see you.
And thanks to all of you for tuning in to Industry Voices. We'll see you soon.